what's your bold prediction? It can be about anything.
My bold prediction is I have Texas winning it all. Texas women's basketball, I have them taking the whole thing from volleyball. And so that was something that I just kind of lacked. And I felt like my whole schedule was just school and volley, and I didn't have a lot of balance in my life. There was just some tough decisions that I had to make. Felt like I would be better off and have more success if I were to transition somewhere else.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Think Tank. My name is Trey Holder. I'm your host. Super excited today to have Madisen Skinner join us from the University of Texas. I'm definitely a homer, wearing my colors today, so super fired up to have her on here. Four-time All-American, three-time national champion. I think maybe the current reigning player of the year. Try to get all your accolades, right? I know you got a lot of them out there. And I believe the first person to ever win a volleyball national championship at two different teams from Kentucky and Texas. So pretty awesome stuff. So excited to hear from you and excited for the world to learn more about you.
Great intro. Thank you.
Yeah, well, hopefully I got all the accolades. I know you've got all kinds of records and other things. I think if we went through all of them, it'd be like a 20-minute accolade list here. But thanks for joining today. I'm always interested what's happening around, college players in the portal and people having the ability to transfer and do things that, and as we mentioned, you're, one of the few athletes that have won a national championship at two different schools. And, I'm just curious, what made you make the move? You were winning at Kentucky and then decided to make the move to Texas. What galvanized that decision?
I think there's a lot of factors. I mean, I played my freshman year with my sister, and she was a great support system for me. And then she ended up graduating, and I was just really far from home. Lexington is a really small city. I don't know if you've been to Lexington, but there's not much to do there. And I grew up in Houston, so I'm used to having a lot of different outlets from volleyball. And so that was something that I just kind of lacked. And I felt like my whole schedule was just school and volley, and I didn't have a lot of balance in my life. And so I just felt like I needed a change of environment, honestly. And it just wasn't the best environment for me, people wise. And there was just some tough decisions that I had to make. But in the end, I took a risk and felt like I would be better off and have more success if I were to transition somewhere else. And in the end, I continued just to grow as a person and learned a lot about myself. So it ended up being a good move, but it was definitely a challenge for sure. And there was a lot of thought that went into the whole process.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. We're certainly glad to have you at Texas, and you've been an integral part of the two-time winning national champions here. And I know you guys are going to be marching for a third straight, which would be 4 for you, which is pretty incredible. And I know that's going to be hard for an athlete, because you don't know exactly what's going to happen when you transfer. So certainly applaud you for making the decision, and seems like it worked well for Texas and for Maddie, I don't know if I can say the same for Kentucky, but it worked out for Texas. So I'm sure they miss you.
It's interesting.
So the other thing, when we think about this sportscast, what we're doing here is really to talk about, the relationship between brands and athletes, and it's really a symbiotic relationship. I mean, brands have been engaged with sports with athletes for years. And, I know that in college sports now, those opportunities have opened up. Which I think is really amazing, especially for, women's sports and some of the sports that may not get some of the attention that maybe a football would. But, I know you've been working with brands already. I'd love to hear about maybe one of the campaigns that you've really enjoyed working on.
One that I loved, and it was actually one of my more recent ones, I did a partnership with Academy, and it was a campaign basically surrounding kind of empowering young athletes to chase their dreams, and also for Black History Month, which was awesome as well. And so I was able to actually go to Academy and shop for a after school program that helps like under-resourced kids in Austin. They give them a safe place to go after school, and they help them with their homework and give them rec and all that fun stuff. So I went and actually shopped for them and got them some games and sports materials and was able to drop it off and play with them. So that was kind of a highlight for me, just to be able to give back. But I know the impact that sports has had on my life, and I wouldn't be the person I am today without it. So I wanted to be able to give kids an opportunity to experience that as well. So that was something that was just super meaningful. But there's been a lot of amazing brands that I've been able to work with. So it's awesome.
Wow, that's amazing to be able to give back. And I think, one of the things, I know you and I have talked about it, a lot, and I think you've already done an amazing job, managing your portfolio and brands. Is it has to be authentic to you, as a person. And I think a lot of, especially athletes coming up may not always make that best decision because they're looking for something, quick or something to help them out, but not thinking long term on what's really authentic to them and to their personal brand. So, that's a perfect example of, I think, a really cool, amazing campaign. So just talking about commercials in general, I mean, are there any commercials that stick out to you that really kind of, besides the ones that you've done, that highlight what's happening with, athletes and sports and college and stuff like that you think would be a neat one to share with the audience?
So there's one from Fansville. I think it's a Dr. Pepper campaign. And I saw it, I want to say during the Super Bowl, and I don't watch a lot of TV, but this one kind of stuck with me. I think the main idea was kind of about the transfer portal. And the scene was just really windy, and it was basically because the transfer portal was like sucking up people's starting quarterbacks and their best players. And so the fans are like freaking out and being like, "Don't leave us, please, we need you." And the guy that's getting sucked in is like, "I have to go, I'm so sorry." Which that really resonated with me, obviously going through the portal. So I just thought it was funny, and it kind of stuck with me. But I would love to see them do one with female sports and female athletes, because all of it's typically football, but I think it'd be cool to see that.
I'm with you. I agree. I remember that one too. They made fun of the poor kicker that came through the portal, and they didn't want the kicker in that commercial, I think. But anyway, no, that I totally agree. I thought those were super funny commercials, and couldn't agree more that especially with what's happening in the tournament right now in women's sports and just women's sports in general. Come on, Dr. Pepper. Here's the deal. Let's get Maddie on the commercial. I'll be the crazy fan. I'll get in there too. And let's make something happen here. I think we're going to make it happen, Maddie.
I love it.
So
I'm all in.
Well, in general, I mean, speaking of women's sports, I mean, I don't think it's ever been a bigger spotlight. I think it's really exciting. I'd love to see volleyball in a bigger spotlight. So hopefully you can continue to bring fans to that sport, with what you contribute. I know we've got the Olympics coming up, so that'll be awesome to watch the team in the Olympics. And I believe is your sister in the Olympics? Is she on the Olympic team?
Maybe. So we'll be training. I leave for USA in mid-April. So basically you have to make the VNL roster, which is just a big tournament, in order to potentially compete for the Olympic roster. So my sister and I will both be there to try and train for VNL. So I'm super excited. But yeah, there's a big chance that she could end up on that roster, which is awesome. Or myself. We'll see.
That's amazing. I guess, and I bet it had to help your skills growing up with a sister who's also a badass volleyball player. So I bet you guys were pretty competitive growing up.
Absolutely. Yeah. She's the reason I started playing the sport. I mean, I was a dancer. I played soccer. I kind of did a mix of everything. And my sister was getting recruited, and I was like, that looks awesome. So she was the one that got me ready for tryouts and was peppering with me on the side and trying to teach me stuff, because I entered the sport pretty late compared to most people. So yeah, she's a big impact in my life.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Well, so going back to women's sports, is there anything, you want to point out specifically in what's happening in women's sports that you find exciting right now?
I think, just how much it's growing. There's so many girls now that have amazing platforms in college to inspire the next generation of female athletes that are young right now. And just to see women's sports start to get the recognition and just the platform that they deserve is awesome. I mean, you're seeing them be covered on so many amazing platforms like ESPN, which is just not the norm. So just to open my phone and like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and all those girls be the first thing I see is awesome. And it's a big stride for women's sports for sure.
Awesome. Well, it's definitely exciting. And I know there's some things you and I have been talking about that we can do to continue to highlight it with some of the media assets and some of the stuff that we're working on together and with groups like Essentially Sports here and everybody else. So it's really exciting to see. I think it's the first time I can name way more women playing in the basketball tournament than I can the men. So it's really been exciting to see, especially with daughters that, played sports and stuff as well. And I do want to see volleyball have a higher profile. To me, it's one of the most exciting sports to watch. So hopefully we can continue to see that lift. So, well, I'll end with a bold prediction. What's your bold prediction It could be about anything. Give us something bold.
Well, my bold prediction is I have Texas winning it all. Texas women's basketball, I have them taking the whole thing. And before everyone comes to me and is like, you don't think they're going to win? Like, this is, I mean, I know everyone has a lot of teams ahead of them. I think, who is it that's ranked? It's not Iowa. I want to say it's South Carolina that is predicted to win the whole thing. Yeah, but I mean, the talent we have on our team is incredible. I mean, those girls work so hard and they're so inspiring. And so I have confidence in them, and that's what I want to happen. So that's my bold prediction.
That's amazing. I'm in. I like it. Madison Booker's amazing. The whole team is amazing. It'll be super exciting to watch them. I'll end with my own bold prediction, so I won't put it on your shoulders, but my prediction is that the Texas women's volleyball team wins 3 straight national championships. Hook 'em.
Oh, that's a good one.
Well, awesome. Well,
that's
hey, Maddie,
really good.
It's been so awesome to get to know you, and I really appreciate you joining the cast. It's going to be super exciting to watch your star continue to grow.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thanks for having me. This was fun.
Absolutely.